the Security Dialogue.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'd like to welcome you once again to the Security Dialogue on Muslim Television and Media International. My name is Sadiq Educhum. Today we are going to look at terrorism as a religious imperative. Now, historically, religion and terrorism seems to enjoy a symbiotic relationship. The etymology of zealot and the radical offshoot of the Muslim Shias in the 18th and 19th centuries are just but few of how leaders fought in the name of religion to conquer others. Until the 19th century and the advent of nationalism, anarchism, and Marxist ideology, religion provided the only acceptable justification for terror. Whereas the relationship between terrorism and religion is not new, in the very recent past, this form of terrorism has largely been overshadowed by ethnic and nationalist, separatist, or ideologically motivated terrorism. Nonetheless, the activities of the identifiable terrorist groups in 1968 could be classified as religious. Today, more than 20% of the approximately terrorist groups active throughout the world can be described as having a dominant religious component or motivation. For example, when you look at most of the terrorist grouping within the African continent and especially within the Sahel regions, they have strong religious elements, though the political aspects exist. And today, with me on the show to discuss this very important topic, I have to my left Movi Faraz Yassin Rabbani, who is a missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in Ghana and also the programs manager for MTA Ghana. And I also have to my right Mr. Noah Fiadu Ugli, who is the Director of Communication for the Institute for Intelligence and Strategic Security. He's also a researcher and intelligence analyst. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the Security Dialogue.
Thank you.
Moving forward, I had you last week for us to look at Islam responses to terrorism. And today we are looking at another aspect where we want to see how religion has become very imperative in all this activity. And then in the first session that we had with you, you made us understand that the issue of religion has to be the one that is supposed to bring us together rather than divide us. But Mr. Noah is new to our studios, so we want to use the opportunity to welcome Mr. Noah. You're welcome to the studios.
Thank you.
Yeah, so going to my first question, and I want to start with you, Movi Faraz. How would you describe religious imperativeness in the context of terrorism in Africa from the standpoint of Islam Ahmadiyya?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I mentioned in our previous discussion as well, and it is something that is very historically not out of context ever. For example, I told you that great evil has always been done in the name of great good.
Yeah.
And this is a historical fact, be it this century or last century. Whoever wants to do a great evil would incite people in the name of great good. And I told you that in places where religion or religious affiliations are strong, emotions of people are attributed to religion and then are used to carry out very evil and heinous actions on the name of Islam or in the name of religion. And this is not particular only to Islam. Even in Africa here, we have got so many other faiths who are also being used, like the LRA in Uganda and Congo, who are non-Muslim denominations.
Okay.
But again, this has not been the teaching of the Bible. Jesus was a love maker and he taught love. But again, it is a wrong notion and wrong deductions to commit great evil in the name of great good, which was Jesus Christ and his mission. And I mentioned that in the West, because religious affiliations are not strong, it is democracy, human rights, so freedom of speech, and they are being used to commit atrocities around the world. that does not make human rights a wrong thing or a bad thing. That would not make democracy a bad thing, because it is just being used to
advance
certain wrong notions. And so is Islam and Christianity and other religions, be it Judaism, or in some areas we have even the Hindu extremists who are all doing it in the name of religion.
Okay, but from specifically from the Ahmadiyya point of view, I want you to tell us how we view religion as against committing crimes or promoting the orderliness of peace and security. What does the Ahmadiyya talks about?
So our community, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, says what the Quran says, and the Quran teaches us two basic duties. The first is the duties a human being or a Muslim owes to God.
Okay.
That is worshipping Him.
Okay.
And the second is the rights you owe to human beings.
Okay.
And it tells you that you cannot be a true believer until and unless every human being is protected through your hand and through your tongue.
Okay.
Meaning every person is to be protected by a Muslim, and he should feel protected in the custody or in the proximities of a Muslim.
Okay.
And that makes you a true Muslim.
Okay.
The Prophet of Islam said that I was told about the rights of the neighbor, so much so that I started thinking that he can even inherit you. Wow. He said that if you sleep with a filled belly and your neighbor sleeps hungry, then you are not a true believer. This is the extent to which Islam went. It talks about a servant and master relationship, and it said that if you give your servant of what you wear and feed him of what you feed yourself. So this is the extreme to what Islam has gone to harmonize between you as a person with your relation to God and your relation to other mankind. And that is the motto of our community: love for all, hatred for none.
Thank you very much on that. Mr. Noah, you, from your background, you are a researcher and then an intelligence analyst. So basically you are more into the practicality of security, researching into, and then also as the director of the Institute for Intelligence and Strategic Security. In your workings and in your interactions and experiences on the field, how would you describe religious imperativeness? And I'm asking the same question, but this time I'm looking at you from that field or your expertise. So how would you describe religious imperativeness in the context of terrorism in Africa? Mm-hmm. I mean, from the standpoint of human rights, because Movi Faraz has spoken about what mankind owns to God, and that is worship and the right of ensuring the right of others. So how does human rights play in the fact that people are using religion as the basis to, advance their criminal activities, so to say, or advance that kind of terror activities that they conduct within the sub-region?
Yeah.
From the point of human rights.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, we have to look at religion as a social institution.
Okay.
We have other social institutions. It could be political, it could be health, it could be family. Okay. So religion is one of the social institutions.
Okay.
And scholars who have researched religion, okay, have seen religion as an instrument, okay, and religion as an institution, the role that it plays in society is social cohesion,
okay,
social order, you get what I'm saying, and social harmony. So religion has always been that institution that bring all of us together. So mobilize people for an objective. So that objective, that's what my brother have said, that religion, part of religion is to worship God. Okay, so that role that religion plays in the heart of some believers. Okay. But religion also plays other roles in society. And those roles we can lump all of them together as being used to mobilize people for a cause. So in some society, religion is the only tool that they use to either fight against oppression, or liberate people, from domination. Or religion can also be used as a tool for a just cause. You understand? So religion being a tool, being an instrument, a lot of people will be interested in it. Politicians will be interested in it. Religious scholars will be interested in it. Academia will be interested in it. Anyone who has an interest, a political motive, economic motive, will be interested in using that tool to achieve that cause.
Okay. Just so because that we have become like a people who really believe in that kind of social institution.
Yes.
For that basis, a lot of people want to tap into that and use it for their own
benefit,
which could be either negative or positive. Okay, so how positively can we use religion to promote that world order of peace that we all yearn for? Because as it is right now, we are talking today, we know that right after COVID-19, we are also experiencing the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and all of this are world disorder. And if you look at sometimes the ideological explanations, you might sometimes find some undertones when it comes to religiosity. We want to still ask, in terms of human rights, how do we juxtapose the two?
Yes, so once we are religious, and it's an institution that all of us, we belong to, we have different types of religion. Christianity, Islamic, others, whichever one you belong to. Yeah. The constitution of our societies have made it a human right to belong to any association of our choice, any religious group of our choice. So if I belong to Christianity, I'm a Christian, I enjoy that right to belong there. If that right is to be taken from me, I can protest against it. And the Constitution enjoys me to protest if that right is to be taken away from me. So religion is indeed a right to all of us.
Now you made mention of the social cohesion and harmony. And from what you have just said, it means that if we find ourselves in say one corner, and then I am a Muslim and you are a Christian, or maybe a Buddhist or a Jew, or for that matter, you are saying that you are not supposed to, your activities should not supposed to infringe on the others, so that we can have that kind of social cohesion. Thank you very much. Now, let me take it more from Mobi Faraz. I mean, and from your background also as a researcher into Islamic studies, I want to understand how positively and negatively religious imperativeness as against jihadism, because we made mention of jihadism the last time that we had this discussion, and the resistance of oppression from the literature of the promised Messiah as far as terrorism is concerned.
So when we look at jihad is a concept that has been very much misunderstood. And as Mr. Noah just mentioned, that it is one of the tools that religious societies would use negatively or positively. And of late, it is being used in the negative sense almost everywhere in the world. But when we look at the Holy Quran never talks about any such jihad, that is to go and kill people. There is no such mention anywhere. The Quran mentions of a jihad by propagating the word of God. And the Holy Quran, when talking about jihad, said that preach the word of God, and that is jihad for you. another interesting thing is that we have a prayer in Islam, which is a prayer in Ghana to be around 4 o'clock, early morning before the day starts. It is called tahajjud, same root word, that to wake up and strive to win the pleasure of God. And this concept exists in different religions, night worships. So this has been called jihad. But of late, jihad has become a synonym of killing, of suicide attacks, of kidnapping, which is all very un-Islamic. Suicide is to kill one innocent person, is, the Holy Quran says, as though you have eliminated entire mankind. And if you save one innocent person, the Quran says it is as though you have saved entire mankind. This is a reward and punishment for saving and killing even one person. And we see videos of a child sitting by the dead body of a mother who was killed in an attack, and he's devastated, telling the mother, let's go. What was the crime of that innocent woman who was killed? So whatever...
And that is not the teachings of Islam.
That is not the teaching of Islam one bit. As I mentioned, that jihad is striving to win the pleasure of God through giving Him His rights and giving humans their rights. And the most important one is freedom of religion, which our brother mentioned, that it is a right everybody has. But unfortunately, some Muslims, or those who claim to be Muslims, have, I always say, have been made international policemen of God, that it is our right to make everybody accept the Islamic rule of conduct.
Okay.
This is not Islamic.
Okay.
The Holy Quran says, Lakum dinukum, for you is your religion, and for me is my religion. It's as open as this, that the Prophet comes to guide people. The one who takes it, it is for his benefit. The one who leaves it, it is on him. So this is the teaching of Islam. And where the Prophet of Islam lived, Medina, Jews lived there, Christians lived there, pagans lived there, and they were all living in harmony, to the extent that the Christians were allowed to pray in the mosque of the prophets. So what other example of tolerance do you want? So to use the name of Islam to propagate any kind of extremism or terrorism or dividing societies is un-Islamic and should be condemned.
Or to, let's say, stand on the basis of religion generally to advance a certain cause of killing or hating somebody. Or, as it is when you go to the Western, where you have what you call the hate speech, and we have seen a lot of people being, put in that tight corner because of their, as it is the society that they belong to.
Yes, and this reminds me of one saying of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that if you see any wrong in the society, which includes infringing upon the rights of others, the government should take that with their hand. The people are not supposed to do so with their hand. No one has the right to take the law in his hand. They should propagate the real teaching. And if you are afraid of propagating the teaching, then the Prophet said, at least in your heart, you should condemn that action. He never said that take the law in your own hands.
Thank you very much. So from what Movi Faraz has shared with us, it means that religiously, and here we are referring to the generality of religion, in as much as we single out some, but we are talking about generality of religion. You are also a religious person, because we all belong to one set, but you are a practitioner. So from a security point of view, do you think that the cause of we using religion, because some have said that religion is the opium of the masses. So it means that when all hopes are lost, then people tend to, and I read a portions of the Holy Quran, and each time I read, I get so amused. It's like when man is in a state of confusion, that is when he remembers that he has God. But the moment he's taken out of that state, then he forgets that there is God. How do we, as a people, see religion in the cause of promoting peace? What should we do using religion as a tool to promote peace?
Yeah, religion has always been playing that role, and all over the world.
How?
Okay, use COVID-19 for instance. Yeah, so the whole world was disorganized because of COVID. We saw how religious organizations were promoting social distancing, were helping government to share the vaccines. educate people what to do, what not to do, okay, and all that. That's the role that religion played during COVID, and it's still playing, okay, educating people what to do. Then also religion that promotes social cohesion, peaceful. So during elections, when we have misunderstanding between different political groups, you see religious organizations calling leaders of these political groupings, okay, to a roundtable discussion.
Like the National Peace Council,
the National Peace Council. Okay, so to discuss with them and tell them, we know what, we want peace in this country, and this country has to be a peaceful country, so we have to maintain that peaceful coexistence. That is also a role of religion.
Okay.
Then other parts of the world where there's terrorism, there's violence, you see religious leaders trying to promote peace. So the Pope in the Vatican, so the Russia-Ukraine crisis, we saw how the Pope was advising the parties to either resolve their differences through negotiation. So all over the world, religion plays that role of ensuring that there's a social order.
So from what you are saying, it means that religion fundamentally, whether from whichever sect that one belongs, has that commonality of promoting peace.
Terrorism. Islamic religion promotes peace. Violence is not really it's not part of Islamic religion. Violence is not part of Christianity. Violence is not part of any religion. Religion is not built for violence. Religion is built for social order. So if you read all the scholars, the Weberian and Marxist theories of religion, all of them, they are all pointing to the fact that religion is to promote social order. Okay. Even the opium of the masses, to lure people for a just common, right? It's not to promote violence.
Okay.
You get it? So religion is not built for violence. Okay. It's only when people have seen religion as a tool, as an instrument, now they use it, okay, as a medium, as a means to achieve their own political, economic, or social objective.
Okay. Okay.
So all over the world, whichever religion we belong to, the common denominator is for us to exist peacefully and also ensure that there is that coherence and solidarity, okay, among ourselves.
Thank you very much. I mean, that is very, very instructive of what you said. What would you add to what he is saying?
I would just like to add just to what our brother has just said, that religion teaches you to be thinking positive about others. Yeah. Now, as a Muslim, I have been taught that I should always think positive about people of other faith. Okay. For example, the Holy Quran in the 3rd chapter, verse 114 and 115, mentions that from the people of the book, the Christians and Jews are people who spend their days and nights worshipping God. And I have been told to think positive about them. And the Holy Quran is testifying that they are such people. And not only that, they promote good in the society and they prohibit from bad. And as he gave the example of COVID-19, it says they are those who excel in doing good from the people of the book, the Christians and the Jews. So I as a Muslim should hold the Christians, the Jews, other religions in high esteem, because the Holy Quran tells us that people from other religions hold the same motives, same intentions and same mission as you hold. As I gave the example of the rainbow, that it looks beautiful because of the different colors in it. And that is how different religions just beautify every different society. But one thing I would like to mention is that on local levels, when we hear of terrorism or extremism, a casual glance at that will tell you they are mostly at places that are of strategic importance, politically or geographically. Such groups do occur there. But on the large scale, taking the world as a whole, the First World War, the Second World War, and now we are at the brink of a Third World War. On the international scale, it is not due to religion. It is always because of injustices, which Islam, Christianity, Judaism has condemned. And if you take it as not as a picture, as a pixel, then you would see that religion is being used by different people, different organizations, just for their political and geographical strategies, and that what they want to put in those societies. So Islam, religion, Christianity, Judaism, all have taught the same message: live in harmony, in peace. But these teachings are being taken out of context.
Yeah, so I want to follow it up with you on this, that from the Islamic point of view, and then you are an Islamic scholar. So I want to take it from you that how do you see Islam then and now in its struggles as far as the issue of the Prophet Muhammad, I mean the days of Prophet Muhammad, and then now as against terrorism?
Yes, so
because you know why there seems to be a thin line in what we call defense and then attack, and that for me, jihadism can come in between, because there are points where I think an individual feels that I need to defend myself, especially when that person feels marginalized. But here is a situation where those minority that feel marginalized somehow, some way belong to a group of people who are largely Muslims, or maybe they might be minority Muslims.
So it's a very interesting and important question, and it has been used by some people. The Holy Prophet of Islam was in Mecca for 13 years with his disciples, his companions, and every day they were persecuted. Even attempts were made on his life. But he never acted the way these people do, that take up the arms against the chiefs of those places. The chief of Mecca were those who opposed him, and they were persecuting him. And whenever his disciples or companions would come and say, let us retaliate, he would say, no, we have been taught not to take arms against the chiefs of the land. We have been taught peace. After 13 years, when nothing was going in their favor, and they were very desperate, 3 years of boycott, they decided to migrate from that land to Medina. Now they come to Medina, and the Prophet of Islam is not only a prophet, he is the chief of the place. The people have elected him as a chief. And one of the treaties made was that if anyone, as a group of people in a location would make, that if anyone attacks our country, we would defend our country as a group.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, the discussion is getting very interesting, but time is also not really on our side. I'm sure we're going to do a follow-up, but I want to take your last submission on this subject. I mean, critically from the point that you are a security person researching into security. What should we do as a people in being able to use religion to positively?
Yes, I think we should continue to educate our people.
Okay.
What religion is about. Okay, and as society involved, so religion also involved. And society is dynamic.
Okay.
So there will be changes.
Okay.
There will be lapses. Okay. But in between those changes and lapses, we have to readjust ourselves to meet the society demands.
Okay.
Okay. So we have to keep on letting our people know that their main purpose, okay, of belonging to a religious organization is to promote peace.
Yes. Thank you very much. Our main purpose of belonging to religious organization is to promote peace, but not to use it negatively as against each other. And we have also learned that when we look at religion, we should look at it from a more pixel angle, but not the picture. Because when you look at the picture, sometimes the picture can be very glaring. But when you look at the pixel aspect of it, then you can get the actual component of what, or the roles that the role of religion is supposed to play. And on this note, we bring yet another edition of the Security Dialogue to an end. We'll meet same time next week. This has been your host, Sadiq Edichum. And like we always say, we need to be promoters of peace, not conflict, or not mayhem, or not chaotic situations. And we know how the world is moving now with the undercurrent of a possible third world war. You and I have a certain responsibility to join those of us here on the Security Dialogue, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, to ensure that there is a world order of peace. So we'll meet again same time. It's been a wonderful program, and my name is Sadiq Edichum on the Security Dialogue on Muslim Television and Media International. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.